So I've been debating who to cover next in my King of the Hill series, but my gut kept telling me, Gatdang the dang old Boomhauer, I tell you what. And after getting a lot of comments echoing this sentiment, I figured it was the right move. But after digging through the episode lists, I was kind of shocked to realize that there are arguably only 2 episodes that primarily focus on a Boomhauer story. He's got some B stories in other episodes, and he obviously tags along with the gang on a lot of adventures, but between Bill, Dale, and Boomhauer, there is no question who has the least number of stories. But that isn't to say we can't dig into the character, because the few Boomhauer stories we do have actually paint a pretty interesting picture. And the ultimate reveal in the series finale, that Boomhauer is apparently secretly a Texas Ranger, can sort of help recontextualize some of the things we know about him. So join me as we explore Arlen's fastest talkin' and drivin' ladies man, Jeff Boomhauer. And yes, his name is Jeff. They said it once.
Hello, Jeff. Oh my, it's the 15th already?
I was thinking about that series finale reveal the other day and how difficult it must have been for Boomhauer to keep his life as a Texas Ranger a secret. I imagine it would have required many layers of security and safety. Can you imagine if his information had been stolen by data thieves? I wonder if he used a VPN. Today's sponsor is Surfshark. Surfshark's VPN can do exactly that. Protect your information from data thieves and secure your online life. On top of that, Surfshark can help you unlock tons of content on streaming services like Netflix by logging in through a different country. So if you've run out of cartoons to watch in the US's Netflix library, no sweat. Try out Australia or Japan. You can find shows like Rick and Morty, Archer, Close Enough, and more. One subscription gives you access to Surfshark on unlimited devices, so you can load it up on your PC, phone, tablet, Mac, you name it. Plus there's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's plenty of time to make sure Surfshark is right for you. I've even got a special offer code for you that'll get you 83% off and 3 extra months on top of that for free. Just go to the link in the description of this video and enter the promo code CELLOS to get this awesome offer. Alright, back to Boomhauer. Boomhauer is, to me, one of the most entertaining characters in King of the Hill. Yeah, he's a little bit gimmicky, but to me the gimmick doesn't get old.
Little B.
I, Bobby Hill,
Now come across my dang old heart top man, I played lead to tell you what, man.
do solemnly swear.
Especially when they keep finding new ways to deliver this same joke.
Boomhauer, I can't understand a word you're saying. Must be the echo.
And honestly, it's even funnier when they subvert that joke. Like when we learn that he's actually an incredible bluegrass singer.
Man, I'm gonna go now, I'm gonna take a verse right now.
Blue moon of Kentucky, keep on shining.
Or when they show off the fact that he speaks French fluently.
Chérie, non nous est pas. Nous avons encore cette nuit.
Sometimes his dialect actually is referred to in universe, even though our entire main cast seems to be able to understand him. Like when he's accidentally committed to a mental institution because the police and doctors have no idea what he's saying.
A threat to himself
Get out
and
there and go
others.
home, man. What'd he say?
Recommendation: 72-hour involuntary commitment.
Boomhauer has an interesting history. He's been friends with the gang for his entire life, at least as far back as we've seen. It seems like he may have been a bit of a bad influence on them too. Well, at least he tried to be. Boomhauer's father is a doctor and his parents live in Arlen, though it is implied in Three Coaches and a Bobby that they moved to Florida at some point.
Boomhauer, how are you folks?
Man, they're doing fine, man. I'm down in Florida, man. I'm gonna lighter winter, man. Just no problems, man.
His Meemaw also seems to live in Arlen, or at least nearby, so it does appear that the family's roots are in Texas. In high school, Boomhauer was the starting quarterback, and his love for fast cars and women seemed to date back to his teenage years at least. He had a Mustang named Miss Sally. He was clearly very popular, which makes sense. He was a taller jock with a nice car. Throughout the series, Boomhauer is seen as a ladies' man. He has short-term relationships and one-night stands, and rarely seems interested in anything more than that. Honestly, Peggy said it best.
Hank, the man's longest relationship was a 3-day weekend.
I don't have anything against anyone who wants to live their life that way, but I do think it's interesting the way they portray this in the show. In I'm with Cupid, Boomhauer shows off his so-called secret with women, which is ultimately just hit on every woman you see until someone says yes. It's not necessarily painted in a flattering light, though I guess it does get results that may be thwarted by a certain Hank Hill.
Whoa, Boomhauer, that's the women's changing room. The men's is over there.
But I think what's most interesting about Boomhauer is that ultimately, when the focus is aimed at him, it seems like this kind of life doesn't actually make him happy in the end. And I don't think that's necessarily an indictment on the lifestyle. I think it's mostly interesting from a character perspective. In season 6's Dang Ol' Love, we get our first real Boomhauer-centric A story. The episode showcases Boomhauer's tendencies when it comes to his single life, and that he doesn't seem to treat the women he sees particularly well.
Whoa, yo, man. Still here?
But when Boomhauer falls for a successful woman named Marlene, he finds himself wanting more than a series of one-night stands, but Marlene starts to treat Boomhauer the same way he treats his hookups.
I'm sorry. Did you forget something?
Boomhauer actually goes to his Meemaw's house to get her family wedding ring to propose to Marlene. Yeah, this comes across as pretty fast, but it's interesting in the context of Boomhauer and how quickly his desires shifted when the shoe was on the other foot. In a truly embarrassing situation, Boomhauer proposes to Marlene while she's having an evening with another man, and Boomhauer is absolutely bodied by Marlene in this scene.
Boomhauser? Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I only understand about half of what you say.
Honestly, I think the best part of this episode is how Boomhauer ends up getting out of this depressive hole. It's actually Bill who helps him, somebody who is perpetually spiraling into sadness.
Because there's a train coming at you, carrying a boxcar full of heartbreak.
It's honestly up there with one of my favorite moments in all of King of the Hill. Bill's experience with heartbreak makes him the perfect person to help Boomhauer see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, man. Yeah, right, man. Right, man. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah.
And in the end, Boomhauer actually experiences some important growth, having now been on the receiving end of one of these types of relationships.
I felt that old big hurt, you know, and I just want to tell you, man, I want to tell you, I'm sorry.
I think this really shows how lonely Boomhauer's life can be, even if that's perpetuated by his own tendencies sometimes. They further explore Boomhauer's loneliness and regret in the season 8 episode Patch Boomhauer, which introduces both Boomhauer's brother Patch as well as his long-lost high school love, Catherine. Okay, first, let's take a moment to appreciate the fact that King of the Hill cast Brad Pitt. Yes, the Brad Pitt to play Patch Boomhauer.
Dang old stand there, black t-shirt, looking all sharp, man, with the hair all scruffy on top that way, man. Come here.
Possibly one of the funniest pieces of casting in animation history, and honestly, Pitt makes a damn good Boomhauer. This episode has Boomhauer seemingly grow exhausted by his single life after learning that his brother is getting married. And to add insult to injury, Boomhauer runs into his long-lost love, Catherine, which at first seems like serendipity.
Like a down, talking about destiny, man. Talking about on Planet Line, you know, just like a big old dipper, man.
But this ends up being how he discovers that this is the person his brother Patch is marrying. The episode basically showcases Boomhauer's frustration and heartbreak over this situation. Boomhauer is even given a clear opportunity to reveal that Patch is sleazy, but he doesn't want to hurt Catherine. And though it hurts him, in the end, he resolves to let his brother and Catherine be happy together. Ultimately, Patch and Catherine don't get married because she learns that he's more of a sleazeball than even Boomhauer realized, but Boomhauer and Catherine don't get together either, though it is potentially left open for the future.
Like a dang on North Star, man. I'm always gonna be there, man. You know, just like a dang on GPS, it hurts gold, man.
I feel the same way.
But I think when you take into account that final episode reveal that Boomhauer is actually secretly a Texas Ranger, it kind of paints an even sadder picture. Sure, it's a quick little reveal with no real weight in the episode, and yes, I've heard the theories that Boomhauer was actually tasked with keeping an eye on Dale, and I think that's pretty fun, but I'm more interested in what it says about Boomhauer as a character. This means that Boomhauer's entire career was a secret from even his closest friends. That is a huge part of his life that he had to keep entirely to himself. Is it possible that the reason Boomhauer has been so reluctant to get close to women in his life is because of the secretive nature of his career? Now, I know that Texas Ranger isn't necessarily a secretive career, but contextually in the series, it appears that Boomhauer has been somehow undercover, or at the very least, very withholding about that side of himself. Does it explain his serial dating behavior and his lack of motivation to get close to people? I think when you tie into the fact that Boomhauer's true desires to go steady with somebody special have revealed themselves in full force on a couple of occasions, there might be something to it. And if you look at how most people outside of Boomhauer's personal life actually can't even understand his speech patterns, it paints an even lonelier picture. This guy has a completely secret career, he can't communicate with a large portion of the population, and he seems to be afraid to get close to anyone in a meaningful way. That is a lonely Texas Ranger. I think when people watch King of the Hill, they would likely look at a character like Bill and say, wow, what a sad life. But it's interesting that if you dive deeper, you can also say that about somebody like Boomhauer. But despite this, Boomhauer is portrayed as somebody with mostly good character, with the capacity for growth. Sure, there are a few situations where his behavior is questionable, but we've seen him learn from some of his more selfish actions. He's also shown to give good advice over the course of these series, and he exhibits a high capacity for forgiveness and understanding.
You know, Bobby, I tell him don't take from me, man. It don't life too short, man. You don't want to hold no grudge, man.
It's just another example of King of the Hill's incredible portrayal of very human and realistic characters, even if that character has a ridiculously unrealistic speech pattern.
You know, Mr. Boomhauer, I can see why my dad is always quoting you.
Man, if my daddy quote me, that goddamn, man.
Folks, thanks so much for tuning into another King of the Hill character analysis. If you like this video, comment below which character you want to see me cover next. And stay tuned. Peace.
Johnny! Two